Welcome to our journey through the amazing world of living organisms. Today, we are diving into the Five Kingdom classification system, a brilliant way scientists sort all life on Earth. We'll start simple, then explore deeper, understand connections, and finally, look at how this system impacts our world. Get ready to uncover the secrets of biodiversity. Ready to discover how we organize Earth's incredible variety of life? Let's start with the basics. Imagine a library without any organization. Finding a specific book would be impossible, right? Classification is just like that for living things. It's the process of grouping organisms based on their similarities and differences. This helps us study them efficiently, understand their relationships, and trace their evolutionary paths. It's the first step to making sense of the vast biological world. The Five Kingdom system, proposed by R. H. Whitaker in 1969, is a widely accepted way to classify all life. He grouped organisms into Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and Animalia. This was a huge step forward because it considered cell structure, body organization, and how organisms get their food. For example, bacteria are Monera, amoeba are Protista, mushrooms are fungi, trees are plantae, and humans are Animalia. Time to check your understanding. Think about these questions. What is the main purpose of biological classification? Who proposed the Five Kingdom system? And can you name the Five Kingdoms? Take a moment to recall what we've just learned. Now, let's peel back another layer and explore the fascinating history and the detailed logic behind this powerful classification system. Before Whitaker, scientists like Aristotle made early attempts classifying animals by traits like red blood. Later, Carolus Linnaeus developed the two-kingdom system Plantae and Animalia and gave us binomial nomenclature. While groundbreaking, this system couldn't distinguish between prokaryotes and eukaryotes, or between fungi and plants. These limitations highlighted the need for a more refined approach to capture the true diversity of life. R. H. Whitaker's 1969 proposal revolutionized biology. He introduced the Five Kingdom system, adding Monera, Protista, and fungi as distinct kingdoms. This system became widely accepted because it provided a more natural grouping. It explicitly considered cellular organization, like whether an organism was prokaryotic or eukaryotic, and how its body was structured, unicellular or multicellular. This was a critical improvement over previous models. Whitaker's system wasn't arbitrary, it was built on key biological characteristics. Organisms were grouped based on their cell structure, whether they had a simple prokaryotic cell or a complex eukaryotic one. Their body organization, from single cells to complex multicellular forms, was another factor. Most importantly, their mode of nutrition, whether they made their own food like plants, absorbed it like fungi, or ingested it like animals, played a crucial role. Let's test your knowledge on the foundations of the Five Kingdom system. Who proposed the two-kingdom classification? What are the three main criteria used by Whitaker? Why was the two-kingdom system considered inadequate? Which kingdom includes all prokaryotes? And can you give an example of an organism from each of the five kingdoms? Ready to dive deeper? Let's analyze the distinct features of each kingdom and understand the strengths and weaknesses of this classification. Each kingdom has unique defining features. Monera are prokaryotic, lacking a true nucleus. Protista are mostly unicellular eukaryotes. Fungi are eukaryotic, heterotrophic decomposers with chitin cell walls. Plantae are multicellular, autotrophic eukaryotes with cellulose cell walls. Animalia are multicellular, heterotrophic eukaryotes lacking cell walls. This clear differentiation allowed for a much more accurate representation of life's diversity than previous systems, providing a robust framework for biological study. The Five Kingdom system significantly improved upon the older Two Kingdom system. It correctly separated prokaryotes from eukaryotes, unicellular eukaryotes from multicellular ones, and importantly, fungi from plants based on their distinct cell wall composition and nutritional modes. This created a more natural and phylogenetically accurate classification, reflecting evolutionary relationships more closely and making the study of specific groups much clearer. Despite its strengths, the Five Kingdoms system isn't perfect. Viruses, being acellular, don't fit into any kingdom. Organisms like lichens, which are symbiotic associations, are also challenging to place. The Protista kingdom itself is quite diverse, often called a dumping ground for eukaryotes that don't fit elsewhere, suggesting it might be polyphyletic. These limitations highlight the ongoing dynamic nature of scientific classification as new knowledge emerges. Now, for some thought-provoking questions. How did Whittaker's system improve upon Linnaeus? Why are viruses not classified in the Five Kingdoms system? Explain why Protista is considered a heterogeneous group. What are saprophytic organisms, and which kingdom do they primarily belong to? Can you differentiate between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells? And finally, what role does a cell wall play in plants and fungi? Prepare to explore the cutting edge of classification. We'll examine its historical evolution, the molecular insights driving modern systematics, and its profound impact on science and society. The journey of classification began with simple observations, evolving through Linnaeus's morphological approach to Haeckel and Copeland's additions of Protista and Monera. Whittaker's 1969 Five-Kingdom system synthesized these, using cellular organization, nutrition, and ecological roles. It was a monumental achievement, providing a stable framework for decades. However, its limitations, especially with increasing molecular data, paved the way for even more sophisticated systems, reflecting our ever-deepening understanding of life's intricate web. Modern classification goes beyond visible traits. Scientists now use detailed ultrastructure, biochemical pathways, and especially genetic sequencing to demarcate kingdoms. The three-domain system, proposed by Carl Woese, revolutionized this by using ribosomal RNA sequences to reveal deep evolutionary splits, placing archaea as a distinct domain closer to eukarya than to bacteria. This molecular engineering of classification helps us build more accurate phylogenetic trees, showing true evolutionary relationships at a microscopic level. Phylogenetic trees visualize evolutionary history, with cladistics grouping organisms by shared derived characteristics, forming monophyletic clades. While the Five Kingdoms system provided a good start, it contained paraphyletic groups like Protista. This led to alternative systems, such as the Six Kingdoms, and the widely accepted three domains, which better reflect the deep evolutionary divergences. Molecular biology, particularly rRNA sequencing and genomics, has been instrumental in these refinements, allowing us to trace the genetic blueprints of life and uncover hidden relationships, making classification a truly dynamic and data-driven field. This robust classification isn't just academic, it has profound real-world impact. It's fundamental to biodiversity conservation, helping us identify and protect species. In biotechnology, it guides bioprospecting for new drugs and enzymes. Agriculture relies on it to manage pests and cultivate crops efficiently. In medicine, classifying pathogens is crucial for diagnostics and treatments. Essentially, understanding how life is organized allows us to harness its potential, solve global challenges, and appreciate the interconnectedness of all living systems on Earth. Ready for a challenge? How did Carl Woese's three-domain system fundamentally change our understanding of life's tree? Discuss the limitations of the Five Kingdoms system, providing specific examples. Explain the significance of rRNA sequencing in modern phylogenetic studies. Differentiate between monophyletic and paraphyletic groups, giving an example relevant to classification. And finally, How do convergent evolution and horizontal gene transfer complicate biological classification? Continuing the challenge, beyond the five kingdoms, what other kingdoms or domains have been proposed, and what criteria led to their formation? Describe to practical applications of a robust biological classification system in fields like medicine or agriculture. Why is the kingdom Protista often referred to as a catch-all or dumping ground kingdom? Discuss how genomics contributes to refining phylogenetic relationships compared to morphological studies. And lastly, critically evaluate the statement, the five-kingdom system is obsolete in modern biology. That wraps up our deep dive into the five-kingdom classification system. We hope you've gained a comprehensive understanding of how life on Earth is organized, from the basic principles to the advanced molecular insights. For more such engaging and in-depth educational content, make sure to visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for continuous learning. Keep exploring the wonders of science.